Today we're going to take a look at my short film First Dance and how the music and sound design not only drove the narrative in the movie, but really without it, I didn't have a movie. Hey guys, sitting at my computer, and back in 2019 I made a short called First Dance, and it was part of the Moment Invitational. It was one I did completely on my own. I shot it on the Movi, and I shot the whole movie in 2 hours, actually probably under 2 hours. But the post-production took me a long time. This movie was driven by music and by sound design. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's all driven by one song, and I'll put a link to the movie in the description of this video. But something you may not have known is since I was a one-man band, I recorded no production audio. I just used the audio that was coming into the camera, more or less a scratch track or the reference sound. And so today I'm going to show one little section of the short film and show how the music and the sound design brought it to life. And I really couldn't have done this nearly as well without using Artlist. Now, I've made a video about Artlist before. They are by far my favorite music service, and recently they added sound effects to their offerings, and so now it really is a great one-stop solution for your audio post-production needs. I started out using stock music, you know what I mean by stock music? If you've heard it, you know what it sounds like. I've gotten really spoiled using these online music services, and again, I don't really know how I would do it without it. And so for this episode, I partnered with Artlist to be able to show you my post-production workflow and how I made this happen. And again, this is a no-budget, small movie that I actually made for the Moment Invitational Film Festival. And I really think it turned out well. Now, it didn't win. It didn't even get selected. I'll let you be the judge. Let me know in the comments if you like this movie. All right, so what I want to do here first is show you a short section. And this is the final mix. Everything is put in here together. All right, so if you look here on my timeline, I'm in Adobe Premiere Pro. I've got several, I don't know what, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 tracks of audio. Each of these tracks has sound design, sound effects, and music. Just keep in mind that, again, I recorded the production audio into the camera. I didn't use any external microphones. And so everything was recreated in post-production. And this is a pretty common thing to do. Much more common than you would probably realize, even on Hollywood movies, etc. And so what I want to do here is I want to mute the music and I just want to play the sound design. All right, so here it is with just the sound design I added. This is everything I added in post. No music. And so you can see how, well, number one, the music really pushes the narrative. And I was going for kind of a light comedic feel, a little bit inspired by Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The movie's not really inspired by that, but just the music. Now, I did a part 1 of this behind the scenes where I showed how I made the movie and the storyboards and that kind of thing. And I talked a little bit about the music then, but the way I did this is I actually picked the song first and I cut it to the music, almost like I would a music video. And so that is an interesting way to go for a short film. Now, I did edit the music and I customized it in many respects, but even though it was kind of a music video style, I still needed it to feel like a movie. And to do that, you have to do sound design. All right, so if you look at all these tracks here, everything here is sound design. And so for each and every footstep, I layered in a sound. I also layered in ambience. One thing I also do when I'm doing sound design, and especially for ambience or any kind of effect sounds, I usually layer one or more sound together. And so right here, I've got 2 tracks that are ambient sound. So basically you just build this scene from the ground up, and it is time consuming. It can be very tedious. Like look down here where I've got the steps of him walking up to the door. And so each one of those footsteps, I layered in a sound. And of course, when you're walking on grass, you have one sound. And then I'm walking on concrete, you have another sound. And right here, like for example, I actually mixed 2 effects together because as the character stepped on the mat, it was just a little bit different sound. And so if you can see right here, these are sound effects, they're sound design. It's called Foley, really, is what you call it. Now this isn't custom Foley, it's pre-made Foley that you end up editing and kind of customizing yourself. But what you can do is you can speed up the Foley to make it sound the way you need it to sound. Whenever I'm doing footsteps, I often do that. I'll either speed up the footsteps or slow them down. And so just little touches like that really make a scene come to life. And one thing too, in movies it's interesting because in real life, you wouldn't necessarily hear footsteps, especially in a distance. But if you don't add them for a movie, it feels weird. And so regarding the sound effects, when you go to Artlist, you click on SFX, this just pops up and you have all these different categories. There's footsteps, there's whooshes, weather, technology, water, wildlife, science fiction. You get the idea. They break it down into all different kinds of categories. And then it works just like the music side of it. You click on a sound effect, you find one you want. Here's some heels walking in gravel. And you play it and you got your waveform over here. Having access to this kind of stuff at a site I already use for music is really awesome, and it's a no-brainer. For me, when I'm doing short films, the Foley side of things is really the most important. And that is what we're looking at here. But then of course there are other things that really help, and that is depending on your scene. Now, for making YouTube videos, this can come in handy as well. And I use a lot of the whooshes. You might use that on a title, you might use it on a transition, you might use it for a whip pan. There's all kinds of ways to use whooshes. And they have these broken down within categories here, like risers, downers, reverse. To me, you can never have enough whooshes. And so the sound effects are an add-on to your subscription. It's $100 extra per year. And they add new ones all the time. And for me, as a filmmaker, I find it really invaluable. Now I will enable the music. I just want to show it one more time with this music. So here's a little sequence within the short. That part right there is kind of the Ferris Bueller inspired sound. If you remember in that movie, that little But this scene, and really the whole movie, has a very happy feeling to it. It's an uplifting, kind of quirky vibe. So what I want to show now is, again, how music really, and I love doing this kind of stuff, how music plays such a big role in the tone of your movie. So we'll go back to Artlist. We'll go to music. And the music works exactly like the sound effects. You can search using mood, video theme, genre. So normally what I would do in this situation is I would search under mood, and I want to do scary. I'm going to go the complete opposite of what it is right now. And then I'll go to genre, and I will pick cinematic. And so then you can sample music. And sometimes what I like to do, I will preview a song, but then I'll go back into Premiere so we can see it with the actual video. So that just takes on a completely different tone. It almost makes it feel like that character is going there to do some harm or stalking. And if you like that song on Artlist, you would click on this shopping cart which I've already done. And with your subscription, you can download as much music as you want. It doesn't matter. And you can use it in everything. And that's the number one reason I like Artlist. You can use the songs in your movies and your commercials. If you do commercial work, you can use it in YouTube, which I love. But for the price, it's really amazing. Again, if you do client work, you can charge your clients $100 per song, sometimes even more, depending on what you're doing. The subscription's $199 a year. You can make that back in just charging your client for 2 songs. But it's really not even about the money as much as it is about how good the music is. The music is high quality. For my movies, for my feature films, I use a composer, but using Artlist, you're getting access to composers. Now, it's not custom music for your project, but it can sure feel like that. And so not only is it a good value for just the idea of the cost, you're also getting an incredible value because of the talent you have access to. And so here's one I found called Investigation. Let's do this again. I'll re-rack in Premiere. Got it set there. And now I'll go back to Artlist and I'll hit play. Again, it just takes on a completely different meaning, and I love it. That just shows how powerful music is. And one thing I also really like about Artlist, as you can see here, the waveforms. And so when I'm picking songs for YouTube, I usually will just scroll over and start right at the beginning of where the waveform gets bigger, because usually I want more of the upbeat or the faster beat in YouTube. And right here, I've got these 2 songs selected that I want to get. And so whatever you select, then you go up here to your cart, click it. Now it's in your cart. You hit checkout and boom, you've got your music. So it'll email you the download links, or I've got my library and I can just go into my library and download it there. And I usually always download the broadcast waves. They offer MP3 as well, but wave are higher quality, and so that's what I go with. But you've got the option. But I just love the way you can change the entire tone of a scene by just changing the music. And so between that and then the sound design, again, this short in particular, but really all movies you make, you'll often hear that sound can be more important than the picture. And in a lot of ways, I definitely agree with that, because you'll forgive bad picture, like if something's out of focus or too dark, way before you'll forgive bad sound. So if you want to use Artlist on your next project, I've got a link in the description. And if you use that link, you get 2 months free. Don't forget, guys, you don't have to spend a lot of money and have all kinds of fancy filmmaking tools to make a good short film. I shot this on an iPhone. So get out there and make your movie, and don't wait to create. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.